First of all, I'm not a photographer, but I think, let me expand that. It's the power of image, of which photography can be one of those, is incredible. It fertilizes our imagination about what is possible, what the future can be. So, for example, in early Renaissance times, artists in Florence depicted something they called ideal city and painted images of what they imagined an ideal city would be. That influenced others to create the cities that they imagined. So images, whether they're photography or other images, have this potential to be inspiration for how life could be, and encourages people to start imagining something that until that moment was not understood. That's the great power. Well, you can rest with it, you can analyze it, it engages, I believe, different parts of the brain that are much more at peace. That encourage reflection, and reflection in turn can encourage new understanding. There's something about textures and contrast and colors and shapes that persist on your retina for a while in the same way that sends a different message than when you see moving images. So I was an avant-garde artist in my youth that got tired of seeing creative works being exhibited in special places but lacking from the cities and the streets and the parks of our cities. And so I decided to create an organization called Pomegranate Center, a non-profit, to push art out back into the community and into life. And now my main work is to create gathering places with communities. I work with communities to imagine, design, and build gathering places that are kind of a modern equivalent of the commons. I want to reimagine the idea of the commons for modern times. And gathering places are different from parks in that they need to be for all generations of people. So toddlers must enjoy it as much as seniors and everyone in between. And there are kind of places where small community celebrations can occur. So many of our projects have a stage and seating areas, so small community events can take place there. And in many of our projects, we've done some 40 such projects in our past. People use them for weddings and for performances and for feasts and all kinds of good social life.
And how does art come into play?
Well, everything that we do is carefully crafted, but it's crafted with volunteers. So we kind of do barn raising. People work alongside with us, and in an intense period of time, 4 days to 10 days, we build these places. We camp on a site, and many volunteers work with us. And everything that we do is crafted to perfection. So some volunteers complain and say, well, I'm already giving my time and now you want me to do it well. They're sometimes mad at us at the beginning, but at the end they're always proud for what they have created. And our goal is to create places where hundreds of people can say, this is mine, I did it.
And you bring art into it.
Well, everything, the space itself is conceived as an artwork, yes. That's a big question. Well, first of all, images I think images are the side product of our imagination. I believe as an artist that unless we can imagine something in our mind, in our consciousness, it's almost impossible for us to see it outside in real world. And so when we talk about the future and changes that need to be happening, the first step towards that change is a courageous act to reimagine my world, to see what is possible, and start creating intuitions and a sense of possibility within my own self, I believe that that's the starting point for good creative work. So images then come out of it. There's an American historian, William Thompson, who talks about the fact that every social process starts with heresy and ends with heritage, meaning it's heretical to begin with. The status, the consensus society would reject it. But through a journey of kind of a seasonal work where it travels from intuition to artistic articulation to an entrepreneurial business articulation, and then finally re-emerges as a policy and a political system, that's a long journey that travels through a long period of time. But essential to all of this seemed to be the power to generate collective images of the future. That must be what another philosopher called Fred Pollack calls the other future. In other words, in his thesis, healthy society require all of us to generate consciously images of the future that represent an ideal. And then, like a fisherman who casts what do you call it? Casts a hook, into the water. We reel ourselves into that imagination, and when we are there, we call it reality. And that becomes part of the heritage. But it always starts with something new and something that initially only a handful of people see. So the image is an essential bridge between that intuition and the later reality. It's what allows some possibilities to anchor themselves in a body of society. They would be, the images are analogous to roots of a small seed. When the shell breaks and suddenly something is anchored in the soil that until that time could live anywhere, but suddenly becomes rooted in a reality, and it grows slowly from there. So the challenge of our modern time is that many feel that we don't have time for that patient unfolding because we're in crisis mode, that we may not have enough time to actually solve all these problems. And that lives in tension with this very organic unfolding that needs to happen, first in imagination, then in art, and then in technology, and in business, and then in politics. And rushing that is not good, just like forcefully breaking a shell of a seed is not good, it would just die. So we're caught between this moment of necessity that demands a natural, organic unfolding. What an interesting challenge.